If you're going to root for one team at the upcoming World Cup, you honestly might want to look right in your own backyard. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are breaking down what is undeniably the most exciting homegrown United States men's soccer team in an absolute generation. And look, this isn't just about sports, right? It's about a fundamental cultural and athletic shift happening right before our eyes. You're about to see a host nation team that has completely reinvented itself from the ground up. So whether you're a diehard soccer fanatic or just someone who tunes in every 4 years for the sheer spectacle of it all, you need to understand the mechanics behind this new American squad. I am so incredibly pumped to walk you through this. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, a different kind of team. Second, the star and the squad. Third, setting realistic expectations. And finally, what to watch for.
All right, Section 1, a different kind of team. Why this generation breaks the mold. For years, actually decades really, American soccer fans were fed the exact same line. Just be patient. We were always told the team was too young, the domestic talent pool just wasn't quite deep enough yet, and that competing seriously for a World Cup, well, that was always going to be a massive long shot. We were perpetually, always a team building for the future. But guess what? That narrative has officially expired. Fans no longer just need to cross their fingers and hope for a lucky bounce. In the past, U.S. teams were defined by that youth and treating the World Cup as an underdog's dream. But this current squad, totally different animal. They are tested in Europe. Because they're the host nation, they don't even need to go through the grueling qualification process. They already have a guaranteed spot. And with that spot and those guaranteed home crowds comes something past teams never really had to shoulder at this level: immense, undeniable pressure. They aren't the plucky underdogs hoping to steal a win anymore. They are the hosts, and they're expected to perform.
You know, it's easy to be talented in a vacuum, but the defining trait of this generation is that they are tested. They grew up completely differently from the guys who came before them. A huge portion of these players didn't stay in the U.S. to develop. They made the incredibly difficult decision to leave home as teenagers, literally packed their bags, and went to cut their teeth in the absolute toughest professional leagues in the world over in Europe. They spent their formative years fighting for roster spots against the best global talent. I mean, that is a crucible. So when they step onto the pitch for the World Cup, the speed and the physicality of the game, it won't shock them. They're not just talented. They are battle-tested at the highest levels of the sport, week in and week out.
Moving on to Section 2, the star and the squad, the players you need to know.
To really understand a team's identity, you have to anchor it to a human face, right? A team isn't just a flag or a jersey. It's the specific athletes actually driving the play forward. And for the United States, there is a very, very clear spearhead to this operation: Christian Pulisic. He is the closest thing American football has to a true global superstar. He's the name you are going to hear the most, and for good reason. Pulisic plays for one of the absolute biggest clubs in Europe. He's incredibly fast, deeply creative with the ball at his feet, and most importantly, he scores in big, high-stakes moments. He is the fast, creative anchor of this whole offense. If the USA goes out there and does something truly special in this tournament, you can practically guarantee his name is going to be front and center on the highlight reel.
But hey, a superstar alone doesn't win a World Cup. The real game changer here is the unprecedented roster depth. This roster is absolutely loaded with players in their early 20s who are already starting for major European clubs. This is a massive scale-up for the U.S. Historically, the U.S. men's national team might have one or two standout world-class players who are then surrounded by hardworking, solid role players. Not anymore. There is a level of top-to-bottom depth here that would make most countries incredibly jealous. They are moving completely past the era of relying on just one guy to carry the entire nation on his back.
All right, Section 3, setting realistic expectations, defining success for the host nation. So we know they're talented and we know they're tested, but we also have to be objective here and define what success actually looks like. Let's be perfectly honest about the historical context for a second. The USA has never won a men's World Cup. Expecting them to just waltz into the final, even with home field advantage, would be a massive, monumental surprise. We really have to ground our excitement in reality. So what does realistic success look like? The quarterfinals. Reaching the final 8 teams in the tournament, this means cleanly getting out of the group stage and making a very real, sustained run in the knockout rounds. If they can reach the quarterfinals, that would represent the absolute best World Cup result in the program's modern history. It's an aggressive goal, sure, but with this squad, it's a completely realistic one. It gives them a tangible target that signifies major progress on the world stage without demanding an absolute miracle. And here is the X factor that might just help them reach that goal. I want you to imagine an NFL playoff atmosphere, but every single game. Really visceralize that for a second. If you've ever been to or watched a high-stakes American football playoff game, you know that deafening, ground-shaking energy. Now take that and apply it to every single match this team plays for the entire duration of the tournament. The crowd advantage for a host nation is just enormous. That specific kind of relentless, roaring home energy has historically carried teams way deeper into the tournament than anyone expected. It's literally like having a 12th man on the field for 90 straight minutes.
Which brings us to Section 4, What to Watch For, your insider's guide to the tournament.
Now that you know the background, the players, and the stakes, I want to give you some actionable things to look for when you actually sit down on the couch to tune into these matches. Keep these 3 specific steps in mind to gauge if this team is the real deal. Number 1, watch that group stage opener closely. How they perform right out of the gate sets the whole tone. If they win their opener and look comfortable doing it, that is a massive signal. It shows this team truly believes it belongs at the top table. Number 2, watch Pulisic in big moments. As we discussed, he tends to show up when the pressure is highest. Watch to see if he demands the ball and steps up when the team desperately needs a spark. And number 3, watch the crowd energy. Home support at a World Cup is truly unlike anything else in all of global sports. If you want to feel what this tournament is really about, experiencing a USA match with that unmatched home energy is the absolute perfect place to start.
So let's wrap this whole thing up. The bottom line is this. You are looking at the most talented, most battle-tested USA team to ever play in a World Cup. They have the supreme benefit of playing at home, backed by the loudest, most passionate crowd advantage any team could possibly ask for. And, perhaps most tellingly, for the first time in a very long time, absolutely nobody in the international community is writing this team off before the tournament even starts. The respect is finally there. Now, could they go out early like past USA teams? Yes, objectively, that's always possible. It's a highly volatile tournament, but they also possess the unprecedented talent and infrastructure to make a genuinely deep run.
Which leaves us with one final burning question. Will they shock the world or bow out early? The stage is completely set, the pressure is incredibly high, and the world is absolutely going to be watching every single pass. If you want to follow this team's journey and really understand the tactics behind every win, loss, or draw, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our continuous coverage. We'll be analyzing every single USA match through this Explainer series, breaking down exactly what the results mean going forward. Thank you so much for hanging out and learning with me today, and I will see you in the next one.